I don't want to use the cursed word, but I'm very interested to see what EDG are going to do outside of the first 10 minutes of this game, right? I think a lane swap is going to be relatively easy to play out, right? And ZDZ, I don't feel like he can be dove from 100 to 0, even with these three. If he can get his passive back up, that empowered W is such a nuisance to deal with. Still a few seconds away, but they're gonna start this dive off now.
All right, Hong tanks up the turret. Aggro ZDZ gets knocked up. The spears. There's that empowered we were talking about. Hong, wait a minute. He's got the minion Nico passive.
Oh, but the healing.
But ZDZ's still healing because he's autoing Tian under the tower. But eventually, Weibo Gaming pull off the dive with no deaths on their side. First blood goes over to Light.
That he can be frontline, and right now Weibo doing everything in their power to deny this from happening. Another stacked wave, Xiaohu's here, and Tian's even on the way, but they're starting this dive off now.
I mean, he can grab the Seraphine ulti and have access to an Encore before Wink is even level 6 himself. And now Tian is going to roam on over. This is a 4-on-2. Encore hits onto both targets here. Wink is trying to body block so that ZDZ can survive, but he will fall. Xiaohu takes it, and Hong once again, power of the cannon minion, allows Nico to take up as many turret shots as he needs to, and this dive will take no prisoners from the side of Weibo Gaming unless Angel can find some salvation and redemption kill, but everyone else gets out alive because what can Victor do this early on? What is he going to do? Flash and Chaos Storm with practically no items under his belt? So this is a massive win for Weibo.
Grubs, despite all of these successful plays on the top side, as we come out of the replay, EDG are here on the Grubs first. They don't quite have numbers for the time being, but the collapse is going to come in shortly.
They need to save an Angel. Hong gets nailed by the arrow despite flashing away. Xiaohao picks up that one. But Tian is going to take this moment to sneak over one of these Grubs while the rest of EDG formed a death squad towards that top side. Xiaohu has returned to the river, takes the arrow for himself. But I don't think there's going to be an engage from Weibo Gaming. It's just going to try to use the arrow to disengage. But Tian's got nowhere to run, no time to flash, as Xiaohao pulls the trigger with that Cyclone now looking for Xiaohu. And Weibo Gaming might have bit off more they could chew. Xiaohao dashes over the wall thanks to the upscone abduct and breathes to force the flash.
Could be seeing a play here mid lane.
Nice. Glacial Prison on to assume. Xiaohao will try to deter the engage. Nice use of the Encore to lock up Light, but he takes out Xiaohao before they can get any damage back. Light is below 200 HP, and Hong might have gone a little too far forward. I'll assume using the power of those arrows in the slow, but Tian will now body block using his own body. Light goes in a little too far, but they take out 2 for the effort. And for EDG's bot lane getting absolutely obliterated, Weibo Gaming will walk away from the fight victorious.
Sit back for the time being and wait for those next couple of items to roll in. Right, first items across the board for the important members of EDG have already come through as 1v1 on the bottom side here. All out's been cool.
And ZDZ will just run away.
Yep.
Awesome matchup. Now Arrow from Assume hits Tian straight dead in the face, but no one else from EDG can safely walk up and threaten this objective. So that's going to be 4 Void Grubs picked up in total for Weibo Gaming. You know, credit to Tian for being able to steal 1 in the previous rotation. This will at least give them some extra turret splitting, pushing power.
Side, it seems like that's just going to be the case. So there's 2 early dragons to the scaling side of EDG. Weibo, despite all of the early skirmishing power that their champions can be afforded, just haven't been able to find the time to, or haven't made the time to pick up those dragons. But this TP is going to come down. There's 3 members here and ready to dive ZDZ.
He flashes away, tries to buy as much time as he can, but with 4 members diving you, I don't know how long you can last, but credit to EDG. They bought enough time for Angel to pick up first brick on the other side of the map.
Make good use of this Kalista for the next few minutes. Otherwise, I feel like Light's usefulness is certainly on a timer. As a Kalista, into things like Wukong, into all of this range slow from Wink and Assume on Ashe and Seraphine.
In the shutdown going over to Wink, but if Weibo Gaming can continue to rely on Light jumping forward, as Xiaohu is going to send an arrow mid lane. Sails on wide. Doesn't look like any target is going to hit. It looks like they were aiming for Angel to see if Breathe could get that.
Just kind of fulfilling their role. They're really understanding what the win cons are for Weibo, and they're doing an excellent job of denying that away. And as they start up this dragon, this is where it could get dicey. This is the opportunity really for Weibo to try and pull the trigger and find a successful fight.
There's some good wards for TP flanks if Xiaohu wants to pull the trigger, and that's what exactly he is going to do. Not sure which ultimate he's going to grab, but if he's got the pick of the litter, Encore would be great from this angle, and Ash Arrow could single one target. Hong goes in, Pop Blossom on a 3. Here comes the fight. Xiaohu tries to flank, but EDG immediately turn on to the flanker, and Xiaohu is getting singled out by Xiao Hao. He's forced to flash over the wall, but Weibo Gaming pushed through the other side of the fight, taking out the main frontliner ZDZ, and now it's a 5-on-4 advantage for the side of Weibo.
Yeah, I mean, Weibo, this was their opportunity, right? They've got this big gold lead. There's that IM advantage on Light. This was the window they needed to pick up a team fight win. Light to just open up, right? Takes down the frontliner. There's not really much CDZ can do. He's just being good at it in the middle of 3 members. But as we come out of the replay, Assume's dead.
And it doesn't stop. The momentum has started for Weibo Gaming.
Assume can send out a hawk shot on an arrow. That's going to give them a little bit of information. But at 5k already, Rafa, this thing's gone. EDG.
Xiao Hao would have to pull off a miracle 2k HP. He can't get into the pit. Hong doing a great job of body blocking him and ensuring he does not get into the club. Weibo Gaming now should be able to have a clean reset on this Baron.
This mid lane tier 2. Let's see what they can actually get done down here on the bottom side. Because again, the scaling threat, the wave clear as well, is going to, again, regain its power as soon as this Baron is lost.
Arrow flies. It hits Tien. Xiao Hao's gonna go in, tries to lock down the tank under the tower, forced to flash away, but Xiao Hao gets completely annihilated. But the amount of damage that Weibo Gaming were able to put out as Light rips 1,000 spears out of the Monkey King's back. And now EDG, without a jungler, don't have really any more engage tools as they used pretty much everything here, Jamada.
Yeah, they did, and it still seems like Weibo are gonna get the most out of all of this. 2 tier 2s, mid and bot. There's a top wave being pinged as well, so we'll see what Breeve's going to end up doing here. As the arrow lands onto ZDZ, teleport's coming in as well. Breeve is very tanky Cassante.
Yeah, tanks it up and barely loses, I want to say, more than 1/5 of his HP. Still has about 3/4 to play with. Hong goes in, forces a couple of summoner spells out of the teammates of EDG. They lose the inhibitor tower, but now have all 5 members once again. But Light, having finished 3 items and the Terminus, that makes any marksman that buys it so deceptively hard to kill because you are getting so many resistances off of the stacks as you ramp up.
Open the eyes of a lot of LPL watchers. And then this year, he was a lot more restrained, a little bit more calculated, but still very aggressive. And speaking of aggression, Breeve's gone forward here. He could very easily be taken down, and I think that is going to be what happens, though he's Cassanteing.
He's so damn takey, man. I mean, he finally goes all out and is just now dropping below 50% HP, and he still doesn't die. Meanwhile, Xiaohu is just wondering, hey guys, y'all doing good over there? And he's like, I'm taking this turret on the top side of the map.
Here in Fog, and be very, very threatening. And if you split up like this, EDG, one person getting caught out, you just lose the game.
Yeah, remember, EDG's composition is stronger when all grouped together. If they're ever split up, as Xiao Hao was trying to look for the flank on the right side, and Weibo Gamer is just gonna pull Hong! Pop Blossom! Flash over the wall! That's gonna set up the engage, and Xiaohu is completely isolating Assume from the rest of the fight, cannot assist with any of his fellow EDG comrades. The fight completely won and absolutely dominated by Weibo Gaming in a stellar Game 1 performance, and they'll be taking the first game of the series.
What an engage from Hong. 3-man homer on the front line to really just put the nail in the coffin of EDG, and that will be game 1. Weibo, after the first 20 minutes, I was a little bit worried, but once they had that opportunity to pick up that Baron, it was all go, no breaks.
I'll come in with a little cope from a jungle perspective. You know, if EDG had actually locked in the Poppy, I would be less inclined to lock in Lee Sin.
We're interested in picking up this dragon, and of course the bottom side priority looks the way it does for the time being. They're waiting for a wave to stack back in EDG. So maybe after the Wolves, they'll go towards it, but they'll certainly be behind on tempo. Light wants this reset, and Rafa, he's not basing in the best of places here. Wink,
and all the base is desynced. I mean, Hong will be able to at least stop Assume's damage, but Light is already forced to flash away. The Ignite is ticking down. It's going to get some chip damage back in, but that is both summoners gone off of Light's Varus.
On tempo, but really not the worst thing in the world, as unlike last game where Weibo, you know, in the early game, a lot of criticism around their dragon control at the very least, not really picking them up with that Kalista lane, still able to do it here, despite, honestly, being pretty heavily pressured in this 2v2 down in the bottom side of the map.
The safety is, whoa, Xiao Hao really wanted that.
Yeah, it was just a little bit slow on that Heartbreaker pull of Xiaohu. Angel
Is Angel in trouble?
One more.
Xiaohu.
Whoa.
One more. Like you said, Jamada, first blood goes over to Xiaohu.
Yeah, I mean, clean pickup there for Xiaohu. Not sure how it transpired, but I'm sure the observers will highlight that for us shortly. We got the look at the bottom side there. Xiaohu was just barely short on that Heartbreaker. But what that play and the resulting sequences then given us is this play onto light. No flash, remember.
I'm not sure if the depth charge was ill-advised, because now Tian gets a free engage onto Asumu, who's forced to flash over the wall. Paranoia lights turned out, and Wink has got nowhere else to go. And Xiaohao, remember, he used the Heartbreaker earlier, so he would have to flash if things get dicier. Here comes the bullet time. It will push Weibo Gaming back, and that does preserve Xiaohao from having to use his flash. Catapult this lead for Weibo Gaming further into the mid game.
Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, the game state feels really, really good for Tian, for Weibo, as Tian has to walk away here from ZDZ. Does worry him enough and does sneak away this one grub, and I imagine that EDG will be able to secure the remainder. So it will be 5 for EDG, but the problem always lies in grubs that they are a win more objective. You do have to, you know, get onto the towers to be able to really push the advantage of getting these grubs early on.
Have a leap of faith in venturing into the darkness, as Dragon is already secured by Tian, and Hong is just going to make sure that EDG cannot get in position to try and capitalize on a retreating Weibo Gaming, as they get everything they wanted and nothing really gained from the side of EDG. Weibo Gaming might favor a potential re-engage if they want to look for EDG, but just trying to push them away, as Xiaohu now pops the Spirit Rush. He's going to get the Death Charge guaranteed. Bullet Time rips through. That's one reset for Xiaohao as he takes the body of Hong. Will look for the Grand Entrance before looking for another Heartbreaker forward as he wants to get onto Tian, but they pop the Paranoia, and then he still had one more Spirit Rush charge out of Xiaohu, and they punish an overextended Xiaohao.
The gap on the target that's been Chains of Corruption. There's Xiaohao on this Herald as we come out of the replay. It looks like it will be EDG's objective to take, but Weibo, I think, kind of content. You look at the bottom side of the map, Xiaohu all alone on this bottom side tier 1. No one here to match him, no teleport available, so tower for Herald will be what the exchange ends up being. And even though, you know, EDG can just drop this Herald up here and make it a 1-for-1 in towers, it's still a much larger investment of time and resources out of EDG compared to Xiaohu, who can now just take a base, spend all of that gold he just got from this tower, and then come here and maybe look for a bit of a play himself. He's actually got a deep teleport ward by that top tier 1. If you take a look at them, but I don't even think Weibo are interested in looking for a counterplay that aggressive. They're just going to look for the mid tier 1.
Yeah, if anything, they'll just stall the ability of EDG to rotate towards the mid lane, as Assume is the only person that can try and defend it, and he is not going to try his hand against Tian and Light.
That is going to have to step away from this tier 1 on the bottom side. EDG collapse looks really scary. They will secure this tier 1, so a little bit of gold at the very least is going to be bounced back into Angel's pocket. But again, you take a look at the picture-in-picture. Xiaohu, he's cross-mapping immediately already. He's the one with 1 grab. He doesn't have 5 like EDG do. And he's just going to continue to grow out this lead. 1.6 thousand. Shallow wards might end up working out for Weibo here. As it's just a game of cat and mouse at the minute. And a hook's going to come in and the lights are off.
Yes, sir. Xiaohu has been cut off, though, by Xiaohao, but he's able to Spirit Rush back to the safety of his team. Tian going in, immediately repelled by Angel's Emperor's Divide. And that's a solid win for EDG.
It's a very solid win for EDG. No forever Cloud Soul in 5 minutes time, Rad. Honestly, Cloud Soul on high key, all of these champions actually very, very scary. They're back at 2-item parity. It feels good, but for the time being, they take a fight. EDG, on paper, should just be stronger.
And for EDG, Baron has spawned, and that's where they're keeping their eyes on. TM pulls the trigger, wants to look immediately for Xiaohao, forces him out of the fight, and that does isolate Wink for the taking. Weibo Gaming pick off the straggler from EDG's side. EDG, he's TPing. He's looking for the flank angle, and Weibo Gaming, once Breathe calls out that information, they have to immediately ditch the dragon. It resets, but Xiaohao catches it, so is able to catch a little bit of the leash that Weibo Gaming gave them over to them. This is going to be second dragon acquired. Once again, Weibo Gaming denied Cloud Soul point.
Yeah, they are. And it's a good couple of pickups here for EDG. And again, time afforded to them to ramp up, to scale, and give them potentially an easier time in these 5v5s. But again, Weibo execution has been fantastic. The side lane play so far this game has been stellar.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's not like they're a pretty sizable chunk out of this tower. As the next wave arrives, he might actually be able to finish it before Breathe is able to interrupt him, and I think that's going to be the case. Double dash out to safety. That's 700
Huge.
gold into Renekton's back pocket just to recover some of that gold difference, but it's been kind of the name of Weibo's game. ZDZ's being chunked out more and more. He just needs to survive until he has teleport, and even if he ends up losing this tier 2, it's fine. What you don't want to do is get caught by the chains of corruption over the wall.
Oh, and that's all it takes. Fog of War to the advantage of Weibo Gaming. They lock down ZDZ, force that pick, and now it's a 5-on-4 as they are going to push in this minion wave position to just trade objective for objective. They're rather concerned of letting this Baron go for free as ZDZ tanks up a charm and a full combo from Xiaohu. The Baron is reset. They turn off the lights. Hong was waiting for that flank angle and the rest of the front line to overextend. Wing falls. Tien looks for Assume, but Assume stands tall behind Angel, and the bullet time starts ripping through the front line of Weibo Gaming, and now the resets are coming in. Xiaohao taking control of the mini Gnar. It's up to Xiaohu and the rest of Weibo Gaming to make sure that EDG can't find any more resets and prevent a potential Baron take, but with a jungler on their side and no smite contest from Weibo Gaming, that should be the third dragon for EDG.
For EDG, CDZ caught a little bit too far forward. I mean, it's just kind of the target selection there from Weibo. Been a little bit of a struggle on his end, though, as we say that, speaking of struggles, EDG are struggling to lock down Breathe, and he is going to pick up that tower. He even still got the gold for damaging it, so
wow,
400 gold in his back pocket and more pressure onto the side of EDG as, yet again, Weibo, you know, not eager to pull any kind of trigger here. Force out a teleport maybe from ZDZ. Just, yeah, take the slow route and reset. They're at 4 items now on their carries. Significantly ahead of EDG at this point in the game. As, despite that fact, EDG happily, and I'd say brazenly start this Baron. Tien's in the area. Breathe is in the bottom side. He has TP, but like, why even pull it unless he's going to have Mega? And he will. Lights are off, Rafa. Let's go.
Paranoia from Tien. He goes into the pit. Who takes the Baron? It's Tien that steals it. And now, as long as they can stop the recall of EDG, Breathe can just finish the game by himself. Weibo Gaming don't have to overcommit. They just have to continue corralling EDG in this river, but they have the numbers advantage even without Breathe in that Baron fight at all. And that just seemed too damn easy for Weibo Gaming to pull the wool over EDG's own eyes. GG, well played. A clean 2-0 sweep for Weibo Gaming.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.